The Buffalo Sabres beat the Dallas Stars. That's right. Down goes Dallas Stars! Woo! The Buffalo Sabres beat the Dallas Stars 5-2. And welcome to I'll Hang Up and Listen, brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room with over 300 beers to choose from. Make sure you check them out at Fatty Beer on Instagram and Twitter, fattybeer.com, and, of course, Buffalo Logo Apparel, one of the greatest spots to get all of your Buffalo sports apparel needs. It's where I got this beautiful RJ hat in the blue and gold, also available in the red and black on Buffalo Logo's website, and, of course, at Buffalo Logo on Instagram and Twitter. I'm joined by a guy with possibly one of the best mustaches I've ever seen. Intern Joey making his debut this season with the podcast, with the post-game show. Joey, the Sabres just won their second game in a row. Not one, two in a row. I'm going to task you while we're talking, if you can, if you can multitask, if that's something you can do. You're expected to do here on with Two Goalies with Mike and I'll hang up. How long did it take the Buffalo Sabres last season to win 2 games in a row?
I know it's definitely a long time. I think it was like around. I know it definitely was like halfway through the season that they didn't win 2 in a row.
Sure. It took a long time for this team to win 2 games in a row last season.
Yeah.
Too long. But this was this was huge. Your 2 out of your 3 wins are against Stanley Cup contending teams. You can say what you want about the Florida game. Yeah, they didn't have Barkov. Yeah, they didn't have Matthew Tkachuk. Yes, they had Spencer Knight in goal. But you still beat the defending Stanley Cup champions. And then you have an impressive game against Chicago after an embarrassing game against Columbus. And then you come back and you just have, honestly, one of the most complete games I think they've played in the last 2 years against, again, a team that's a favorite to win the Stanley Cup this season, the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, and the thing about the Florida game, they were missing their good players, but we were also missing Peterka too. So, you can maybe argue that missing Peterka for us is a bigger loss than them missing, a couple of their players because they have a lot more depth than we do. Sorry about the cat in the background. But
don't worry, dude. Everybody's welcome on I'll Hang Up and Listen. Let it happen. Let it happen.
I don't think it's really fair to say that they're missing their players because they're still a cup contending team no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, man. That team is still, even without those 2 players, Barkov and Matthew Tkachuk, that team is still a wagon. Look how deep lines 1 through 4. That team without even those 2 players can beat any team on any given night, 100%. Without a doubt. And which is one of my biggest issues with the roster the Sabres put out on the ice to start the season is we're not a very deep team. And we had Andrew Peters on in between periods. He was very, very grateful and nice enough to stick on with us for over a half an hour, which is more than I expected. And we talked about that. We said that it's not a team that's built like those teams that he played on in 05 to 07, and furthermore, where you have 3 or 4 scoring lines. You're really dependent on your top 2 lines. Luckily, you're getting scoring from that third line, which I don't think really anybody expected. Honestly, you're getting a lot more scoring from that third line than you are your second line, which was supposed to be a backbone of your team this year. Tage is really firing, really heating up, which is awesome to see. That line really is as advertised, right? Cousins just seems really snake bitten, man. He can't even score on an empty net.
I screamed when that happened.
Yeah, he needs that would have been nice for that to go in, sure, but I want when he finally gets that relief in that first one, I want it to be a goal. I want it to be shoving a puck into an empty net the way Tuck did at the end of the game, but you really want him once I feel like he gets it going, whether it's at center or maybe Lindy finally decides to make the move to put him on the wing. Whatever it might be, once he gets going, man, I really think this team will finally start to string some wins together.
Yeah, this is the kind of team that you said, we don't have the high-end depth 3 scoring lines like Andrew Peters used to play for. So we really need to be firing on all cylinders to actually win games consistently. And also the power play, too. 0 for 22 now or something. Like, did we have a power play today? I don't know. Like, the Sabres
Can
organization.
we start deferring the power play?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, Rochester hasn't scored. Sabres haven't scored. I don't even remember the other team that hasn't scored, but like 0-4 in the entire organization is crazy. And you can't win games like that consistently.
No, not at all. However, I think in the last how many games? What was the final of the Chicago game? Was 3? Was it?
I don't remember. I wasn't home when I watched that game, so I didn't really get to pay attention.
I want to say it was like 3-2. But you scored enough that you scored a decent amount of goals against Columbus. The game before that, you scored you're scoring goals. 5-on-5, even strength, you are scoring goals. That power play, they need something to happen with that power play. We talked about it with Andrew too. We were like, what's the NHL record for like most attempts to start a season without scoring on the power play? Because the Buffalo Sabres got to be getting close. They have to.
I'd be shocked if they're not like a couple power plays away from breaking the record. Like, it's depressing at this point. Like, I honestly cheer when we take a penalty rather than actually getting a power play sometimes.
From Kevin here, the McLeod trade is looking good. Yeah, he's on a 4-game goal streak.
Yeah, and a 5-game point streak too.
Yep, 5-game point streak. Good win here from Hunter. We're checking out the peanut gallery. If the Sabres continue to play like they did tonight, they will win a lot of games. I agree. Like start to finish. That's I think that is the brand of hockey that Lindy Ruff has been talking about, especially there in the third period when they had to tighten things up. Yeah, sure, they gave up 2 goals, but like Dallas pulled their goalie with 6 minutes left. Yeah.
And Zucker scored on his own net too. So
yeah, you know what I mean? So like, they did tighten things up. They played well defensively. Owen Power had a fantastic game. Tage Thompson had a fantastic game. I have really no complaints from that second line outside of not getting on the scoring sheet. But like Peyton Krabs contributing, going to the net on the there on the fourth line role. And here's producer Steve chiming in. Oh, the boys got the boys,
going, fellas.
There we go. We're just talking about just the three out of 4 lines that are all contributing. Obviously the Jack Quinn, Dylan Cousins, and was it Yuri Kulik on that line as well?
Yeah.
Kulik, by the way, I didn't realize how fast he is. The comparisons of Olofsson are garbage, by the way, because of these lethal shot. Because Olofsson can't skate like that. No way.
No.
And I was really surprised. I was really surprised with how strong on the puck Kulik is too, especially as a rookie. Like, you can't knock him off the puck.
No, you can't.
Yeah, that was something that he talked about wanting to improve at a lot in the offseason, and clearly he's brought that to the table. Obviously losing some puck battles could have led to some unsavory situations when their Calder run last year and the year prior, obviously. So, yeah, I do remember a lot of emphasis that, like, he just wants to be, like, and I think that was something that Appert talked to him about a lot, too, that, it's one thing to just score goals in any league, but, if you really want to stand out and be an elite player, you have to learn how to do elite things in every aspect of the game. So it was good to see him, clearly put an emphasis and focus not only on strength training, but just, playing that more physical kind of game to just be harder to, at the end of the day, he's not the biggest guy on the ice, but he's using his, he's using what size he has to the absolute, best of his abilities. And yeah, it's really starting to show. Like, he's definitely a lot. I would go as far as to say that he's been more noticeable in these first 7 games with Jack Quinn, which is not something I was expecting to say at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. Your thoughts, Joey?
Yeah, honestly, I agree with him. And about, like, ever since they put that line together with Kulik versus Quinn, I honestly feel like Cousins and Quinn, they kind of need a play driver like Kulik and Peterka, like someone that plays with a high pace, high skill, and can just drive play and make it easier for them.
I'm sorry, I lost you there for a second, Joey.
Oh, sorry. Where would you where did it end off for you?
Pardon?
What was the last thing that you heard me say?
I heard none of that.
I can hear him just fine, brother.
Well, then you comment on it because I didn't hear a word he said.
Yeah, I think he was just saying that, like, Yuri Kulik is kind of like filling the void that Peterka used to occupy on that kids line. That he plays with that speed. He's a good puck driver. he's a good playmaker. He's always around it, and I feel like Quinn and Cousins kind of feed off that energy. So I feel like not to say that Benson did not have that energy when he played on that line, but Kulik seems to be, I don't know, playing a different kind of game where Benson's got a little bit more of that pest energy, where it's more just about making the other team's life miserable and not like what can I do in this instant to get a puck on somebody's stick that they can bury. And I feel like Kulik and Peterka particularly have that mindset pretty much in just about everything they do. Like, what can I do right now that's going to lead to something dangerous? And not to say that Benson doesn't have that, but he just does not have it as much.
Yeah. And Kulik is making it hard for, like, when Benson is fully healthy, where does he play? Like, I don't know if you want to break up that second line right now since they're kind of rolling.
Yeah, I like, and I feel like with these kids too, when Cooley gets that first goal, when Quinn gets that first goal, when Cousins, isn't it kind of unbelievable that we're 8 games in, and those three have not yet recorded a goal yet? We're like one of the top teams in even strength scoring.
Well, actually, Kulik did, but not Cousins and Quinn.
I'm sorry, Kulik. Yes, I'm sorry, Kulik. 1 goal out of the 3, yes, and Benson 1 goal out of the 4 if you count Benson.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when Cousins had 2 looks at an open net tonight and could not capitalize on either one. He had some snake bit moments last season, but good Lord, young man cannot buy a goal right now.
I swear he hit like 2 or 3 posts today too.
Oh yeah, post on the power play there too. I think Zucker might have set him up like perfectly, and it just went right off the post. Could have been, of all the goals to score, your first of the season and the first goal on the power play for the team. That would have been a huge boost. I think the score would have been a lot more lopsided if that were the case.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Your guys' thoughts on the way Tage Thompson has really been carrying that top line?
He's just been looking unbelievable. This is the 2022-2023 Tage that that made everyone go. The Tage that was like, I don't know, is he worth $7 million? Are we sure about that? Brother, we're sure.
He's worth every time.
Yeah, brother, we're good. He's not doing that thing where it looks like he briefly forgot how to skate or just making a silly little no look drop. He's been dialed in every single game. Like, obviously, he was gripping his stick a little bit in those first couple of games when he couldn't get it in, but he's just been phenomenal. I feel like Alex Stuck needed that empty netter. I feel like he's been gripping his stick a bit. Like, I think they panned to him at least 2 times tonight, and he just went, just mouthed "fuck," because he just like biffed it, and he's having good looks, but like he's just like it's always bouncing off his skate or always deflecting off his stick out of play, and it's just like, him and Cousins are both Cousins specifically just in this game. They're both doing the right things. They're just not getting, they're just not getting that extra inch in their favor. That's the difference between a post or going off a stick and out of play and then going off a stick and, knuckleballing into the back of the net in a way that the goalie's never going to be able to stop. So, I think Lindy was harping on it a lot that I've been talking to him, you just have to keep playing the game the right way, be on the right side of the puck, be smart. Your chances are going to come. I've coached a lot of guys, and I've seen a lot of amazing game players take a lot longer than 7 games to make it on the score sheets. Don't get too in your head about it. You just got to keep playing hockey the right way, and good things will happen.
You weren't on the show right when we first went live, but I think you'd appreciate this, Steve. Joey's cat made a guest appearance on the podcast.
She's over there somewhere.
She's over there somewhere. We do have an answer. The NHL record for most consecutive power play chances without a goal is 36, set by the New York Rangers during the 2013-2014 postseasons. The Rangers also failed to score a goal by way of the power play. I'm assuming that meant, right? Over 36.
Yeah, what we had.
I don't know what the regular season is, but over 36. That's rough. That's rough. But
that's insane. Yeah,
right?
we only had the one power play look tonight, right? Maybe 2, just 1 or 2. It wasn't like
I think it was
egregious.
one.
Like,
I think it was one.
yeah, I think it might have just been the one.
Yeah.
And
Honestly,
Cousins did have that one decent look.
Yeah, I honestly thought the power play, like, it didn't look that bad today, especially the first unit. I remember Zucker, he had a good chance in the high slot. He just missed top corner. So
Yeah. Here's a thought, and I thought about this to try and mix things up, even though I don't really want to hurt that top line because of the way we played so well. But would you try Quinn with JJ and Tage and try Tuck with Benson, Kulik, and Cousins? I don't know. Shouldn't switch that first lineup, but it's just a thought. I wouldn't mind seeing Quinn as such a high finisher along with Tage, who's also a great finisher, but can also distribute the puck, and JJ Paterka, who's literally just going to do all the dirty work for that line.
Yeah, I personally think that Tuck and Cousins play the game in a pretty similar way. That putting two of them on the same line might do a little bit more harm than good. So I kind of like having them spread out because I mean, like both of those guys can be the guys that can kind of get in there and win a wall battle if you gotta. I don't know. I think spreading the wealth is a good thing, But yeah, something's got to give to get Quinn energized. Maybe it's a quick promotion to the first power play unit. Maybe bump Zucker back to the second unit. I don't know, but I mean, again, I think we talked about it the last time I was on I'll hang up and listen here that or maybe the last episode we did together that Quinn's still probably not in perfect game shape. He barely played last year, coming off an Achilles injury, so like, he's young, so I don't see it taking too much longer for him to really like find his game again. But like again, it's just I've never torn my Achilles, so I don't know what it's like to have to go back to playing hockey at the most elite level after doing such a thing. I can't imagine it's easy, even when you're only like 22. So I'm going to give him a little bit of latitude. I'm going to remember that he doesn't even make $1 million, not get too upset that he might not be finding the back of the net as much as I want him to.
Yeah.
But I mean, if we're having the same conversation a month from now, yeah, I'll be a little bit more critical, but I'm gonna give the kid a little, just a smidge of slack here.
yeah, and I've been saying,
I agree with you there.
yeah, and I'm sure you guys have been seeing my tweets on Twitter. Like, I've been saying to change up the lines. Honestly, I want to put Paterka with Cousins and Quinn. Just give him a new look because that line works every single time you put it together. Like I remember, I think like it was second game in Prague. That line was together for like 3 shifts, and those 3 shifts were the best shifts of the game, in my opinion, at least. It's just a dynamic line that works.
I agree. I think when it comes to Quinn, Alex Tuck, I think Tuck can really just play well with anybody.
Yeah.
I think he's just that kind of player. Like, I'm thinking outside the box, and they are too, obviously, just way to get these guys going. Like a Jack Quinn. At this point, you're 8 games in, and you have less than 5 points between all 4 of those players. Benson, Quinn, Cousins, and Kulik. Something's got to change there because, again, as you said, Joey, to start the show, it's nice winning games like this, but you're not going to always consistently win games like this when you're dependent on maybe one line to do most of your scoring. And it's true. It's true. So UPL with a fantastic performance tonight. I think he had a couple tough saves, but I think Buffalo played pretty responsibly in front of him.
Yeah. That's 2 back-to-back really good games for UPL.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that first goal, no goalie's going to be able to stop that. That was just kind of a freak bounce. That second one, that's where Sagan's been making his money his entire career. When Sagan's that close to your net, you got to do something about it. That one's going to rest solely on the defense's shoulders. Obviously the timing of it was a little bit scary. It's like, oh my goodness, there's 2.5 minutes left and they only have to score 1 goal. This is a team that's made it to the Western Conference Finals 2 years in a row. Come on, man.
I agree.
Can't do this to me. Don't do this to me. But then, thank God, Alex Tuck with another clutch empty net goal. Not quite as satisfying as the one against Vegas, but still pretty darn nice.
Yeah. Empty net assassin.
Empty net assassin.
And when he scores, it's kind of an absolute dagger, right? It's such an absolute dagger. He definitely has some of the best empty net goals in Sabres history. definitely the single most best empty net goal in Sabres history against Vegas. But like I said, they are an absolute dagger when he does score.
Real slasher tires energy. Enjoy the bus ride home.
All right. So, your just overall thoughts of the schedule to come, because they do have a pretty tough schedule coming up, and can they keep this momentum going? Benson will slide back into this lineup, I imagine, once he's healthy. Who comes out? I know Sam Lafferty was back in the lineup tonight. They actually started with that line tonight. They started the game with the fourth line. Do you see Lafferty sliding back out and Benson going in, or is it somebody else?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I mean, ultimately, it'd be hard to punish Krebs and make him sit in the press box after he gets his first goal of the season.
I don't think there's any chance he'd sit Krebs.
Yeah, it's quite a nice one. And I mean, with the way that McLeod, Zucker, and Greenway are gelling, there's no way you can take out Greenway at this point. So I think it's ultimately just going to – I think at the end of the day, just seniority is going to dictate that it's probably going to be Kulik. He's the rookie. He's been here for, a little more than a cup of coffee, like a cup of coffee and a muffin at this point, but he hasn't been there for, Benson's had a whole season under his belt. So yeah, I think if anyone's going to have to get the hook for a healthy scratch, it's probably going to be Kulik. Not for anything he's doing wrong on the ice.
I think he's secured a spot in this lineup right now.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I completely agree. And I mean, also apparently Nicholas Aube-Kubel skated with the team earlier today, so he's going to have to come back at some point too. So then you're looking at maybe Krebs is getting boxed out of the fourth line again, because I mean you can't break up that third line. That's quality. I'm not sure if Krebs is going to make that much of an impact on the second line with Cousins and Quinn. So yeah, I mean, it's just Benson and Kulik fighting for that second wing spot, realistically. But yeah, while Aube-Kubel's not part of the equation, I think all signs are pointing to Kulik getting the sit down, which is hard to argue, especially given that they're going to have 3 days off before their next game on Saturday.
Yeah, they don't play until Saturday.
So like, it's not like it needs the rest. It's back to backs, but like you can't even make that argument. Like everyone should be ready to fucking go for a big home game. I believe the first one wearing the goat heads.
Yeah, we are
in our barn. That's good. That's gonna be a big one.
Yeah, that's a game we should probably get to, right?
You're not wrong. That is a game that we should probably be getting to. That seems like one. But now
I imagine you'll get UPL back in that game, especially on 3 days rest. I think Kubel and Benson are both back in the lineup with that arrest. I think Benson was kind of almost questionable to play tonight, but I think Lindy said he's just not quite right, quite just yet. And Kubel, like you said, he's skating with the team. 3 days more rest, 3 days more to practice. I could definitely see them both sliding into the lineup. I just hate the fact that a guy like Pater, I can't believe I'm saying this, Peyton Krebs and Kulik, who both played very well, got to suffer just because it's a numbers thing.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, this is something that we've discussed in group chats over the summer. It's like, with some of the additions that were made this summer, some players are, potentially being made obsolete. Like, maybe Lafferty has to take a seat because, I mean, at the end of the day, if him and Krebs are fighting for the 4C spot, at least on the score sheet, Krebs is contributing more to that line. You can make the argument for once
Lindy comes back. And Lindy has already sat him once.
And he has already sat him once. That is true.
Yeah.
So
friend of the program here, Greg Day Jr., GD2, 4-2 final. My 9-year-old predicted it. GD3 predicted the score tonight. Couple clicks for him. Good Greg
kid.
Greg
Smart
Day,
kid.
Shout out. Wrapping things up here. If the Sabres are who is it Saturday they got?
Detroit.
Red Wings. That's a winnable game. I think they're good, but I still think it's a winnable game. They've had their struggles so far this season, but that's a team you should beat. And are we predicted a 3-game heater?
Honestly, that's
Are we going to predict that? Can we predict it right now?
I predict a 3-game game. Honestly. It's a go-ahead game too, and I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure Cousins and Quinn are leading goal scorers in the go-ahead jerseys. So I hope
That's your job. You don't correct you. That's your job. You're an intern. You're supposed to. You're the one that's supposed to be figuring that. I'm still waiting for you to tell us when the last time, how long it took them to win 2 games in a row last season was. I still haven't got an answer.
I don't have my. with me right
I
now.
honestly think that was sometime in like late December, like around Christmas.
Yeah.
It took them some insane stat like that, and we're amazed they missed the playoffs. It
Yeah.
was wild. But I mean, yeah, Red Wings are currently struggling right now to just barely hold on to their 1-goal lead against the Islanders. So, and they've taken 10 shots in the entire game. That's Islanders hockey, baby.
Yeah, that's classic Islanders hockey. You got
That's
to
some
bore you to sleep in the stands.
frozen frenzy. It's a fucking iceberg. Good Lord.
Every season ticket holder should get a built-in pillow. And it's also great to get a win like this. Also, when the Leafs just absolutely leaf tonight. Last time I saw, they were losing 5-0.
I think they did eventually score a goal, so it's not going to be a big old goose egg. But let's take a quick peek here, see how that one. 2-6. Oh,
6-2.
oh.
Blow Leafs, blow, baby.
I love it.
You're looking at the biggest Leafs hater in Sabres Nation. Final thoughts before we get out of here, guys.
I got nothing, honestly.
Nothing?
No, I don't know.
Big 4-2 win. I got to correct myself. I think I said 5-2 earlier. It was a 4-2 win. I don't know where I got 5-2 from. But big 4-2 win against a Stanley Cup favorite. And we got no final thoughts here.
They can't keep giving us heart attacks when we're winning by 3 goals in the third period.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I will agree with that.
Yeah.
Got any Halloween plans?
Nah.
No? I think this is going to become a staple on the post-game show. This mask right here. Just wear it on the opening, right? I think I should. That's 2 games in a row I've done it. 2 games they've won.
Yeah, I mean, Sidney Crosby hasn't changed his jock in 20 years, so yeah, just keep wearing that mask and see what happens.
Wear it to games too.
Yeah, in
December, just wear it to games.
Yeah, that's that can be your paper bag if things don't go so great.
I'm pretty sure McDavid's wore the same pair of socks since he's a rookie too.
Who?
McDavid's wore the same pair of socks since like juniors.
Yeah, that's typical hockey stuff, though.
Yeah, I mean, if it works, it works. Why stop doing it if it works?
That's true.
My final thoughts are this: 2 games in a row, we need to make it 3. If you can make this 3 games in a row and turn this from a 1-4-1 start to the season to getting yourself to 500, above 500, because you'll be 1 point above 500, I think that could be a big turning point for this season, especially with the teams you've recorded wins against. Florida, Dallas, a young, fast Chicago team. Detroit is an absolute team that you should get a win against, and might take a little heat off Kevin Adams, but I still hope that he's at least trying to find some more top 6 help for this team. Personally, I mean, we talked about with Andrew. I think that if this team starts winning, you almost feel obligated as a GM. Man, like my team is competing. They're winning. I can't afford this season to go off the rails because of an injury. So I hope that, he doesn't take winning a few games as less heat on him. I do still want to see an attempt to get some help in that top 6, especially for that power play, because 0 for 22 is inexcusable. Inexcusable with this team, with the players that you have. I think they try and force that past the Tage way too much. I think it's almost telegraphed, and teams know what we're trying to do. I personally would love to see Kulik on the opposite side. We saw in development camp or the prospects tournament, we actually got a crispy goal, I think recorded by either Joey or Steve here from that tournament. Yeah. And I think if you just have both those guys on each side, it could be a really turn your power play around, or just find somebody else, bring somebody else in that can turn it around. But with that being said, guys, I got nothing left. But as always, remember, this is brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, Western York's premier market and tap room, with over 300 beers to choose from at all of their Western York locations. make sure you get over to Fatty Beer and Buffalo Go Apparel. Whether it's your shirts, your hats, your hoodies, make sure you check them out. Get your hands on this beautiful RJ Letterman cap, available in both blue and gold and black and red. I am Duane from Two Goalies, One Mic. For Steve, producer Steve, and intern Joey, this has been a big winning edition of I'll Hang Up and Listen. Sabres winning 4-2. Down goes Dallas! Gary, down goes Dallas! Hold on. Down goes Dallas, Gary! Down goes Dallas, and let's go Sabres!